All right, guys, talking this week for our friends at Renew, if you can see that, the limited range of motion in a squat. There's a lot of reasons why folks would have a limited range of motion in the squats. I want to talk about a few different concepts to lay this out. One of my favorite people in the world, Kelly Starrett, Dr. Kelly Starrett, physical therapist. His very first video, what brought him kind of on the map, is Mobility WOD, and he did a project for a full year, which extended way past a year. And the very first video, and he's revisited a bunch, is can you hang out at the bottom of a squat for 10 full minutes, okay? That's a great expression of your overall joint health. Now, there's no rules per se about how wide your feet need to be, whether your toes are straight, if your heels can't go all the way down, it's not the end of the world. But I want to re-emphasize why I love that concept. 10 minutes is a long time, okay? But you got to figure out where you can start today if you're going to try that challenge. So maybe you only do 1 minute for now. Maybe you need to hold on to something for now. Whatever it is, the big picture for me there is all of your joints, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your low back, all the spinal segments, right? They need that full range of motion. So if you're never going to this bottom of the squat position, you are ultimately letting some of those aspects rust, if we want to call it that, which builds up over time. And that's where we start to have issues that we see in this modern medical space, total knee replacements, total hip replacements. 80-something%, between 80 and 90% of folks end up with pretty significant low back injuries. And a lot of that, to me, is coming from a lack of going through a deep range of motion. We're gonna come back to the squat for a second. I also wanna shout out Squat University, okay, and the Squat Bible. So if you really wanna dive deep into just the movement of the squat, right, you can go and check out that channel on Instagram. They have some awesome videos. He has the book, Squat Bible, so go check that out if you really wanna dive deep on the squat. The other really important aspect, including that full range of motion, is the shape of your hips. Everyone's hips are gonna be a little different inside. We have a ball and socket. I'm gonna use this dumbbell, right? That's the ball of your femur, right? And it goes into this socket in the hip joint, okay? So some folks, we have retroversion, anteversion, if you've heard of these terms. I'm not gonna go too deep down the rabbit hole on that, but for some folks, it becomes difficult to squat too deep. So as they go down, they feel a little pinch in there, right? We get hip impingement becomes one of the diagnoses or one of the conditions that we're dealing with. So if we can identify that, if we can assess your hip architecture, and there might be differences between your left and your right side. I played a little quarterback, actually Brooklyn Tech, this is my staff when I coach shorts, but playing quarterback, very one-sided thing. So on top of that, I would always sit with my left leg over my right whenever I was studying or in class. Okay, at some point in physical therapy school, I tried to cross my right leg over for once, talking about these imbalances and symmetry. And my right leg, and my right hip specifically, is just a lot tighter than my left, okay? My left is the one I ended up having an ACL surgery on. And again, we can go down the path of the chain, and all these pieces do fit together. And it's important to see how they fit and how we can then start to address it, okay? So, limited range of motion in the squat motion, that's again our theme. If you have limited range of motion, your goal should be to have a plan to get more range of motion so you can eventually squat, as the kids are calling it, ass to grass, okay? If you can't get here, then we have a problem, okay? If there is a problem we're going to accept, that's one thing, but most likely, I'm pretty sure we can come up with a plan that's gonna help you get deeper. Sometimes it is just tightness that we can start to release, whether it's with foam rolling, better movement. Ankles can be very tight often when we are assessing the squat. The other really cool assessment we can do here, I'm gonna back up so you can see this, is if you have trouble doing a squat here for any reason, right? You can't go too deep. The question becomes, can you go 90 degrees, turn yourself, and bring both knees to your chest? Because what is this, right? What is this? Even if you need to grab happy baby, which is one of my favorite stretches there, that's literally the same as this, being at the bottom of the squat. So try that assessment. If you can do that on your back, but then you have trouble with a full depth squat here for any reason, again, that says we have something along that chain that needs to get addressed, that we need to put a plan in place so that we can get you deeper. So that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, your joints are gonna be as healthy as they can be. You're gonna be as functional as you can be. My goal is to be 110, running around, still squatting, and if I'm in the woods and I need to, go number 2, I'm gonna be able to do that because I have the range of motion for it. Sorry for the imagery. But the point is still important that, again, we have full range of motion. I don't want a total knee replacement, total hip replacement. I had an ACL surgery that puts me in at least an 80% chance of having arthritis of my knee. That doesn't mean I'm destined to have a knee replacement. What it does mean is I have a higher chance of having arthritis, so I'm gonna have more pain possibly, but that's 80% in the research. I wanna be in that 20% that's healthy. So if you wanna be in the 20% with me, that's staying healthy, that's avoiding these surgeries, expensive surgeries that are painful, that cause months to years of, we can call it disability, but it's just time that you're not gonna be as functional and as vibrant as you wanna be. I wanna live life to the fullest. I wanna be hiking 14ers now that I'm here in Colorado, skiing, snowboarding, all the fun stuff. So if you wanna figure all that out, I do think the squat is one of the best ways, one of the most important movements in our catalog, in our literacy of movement. So if your squat is not great, let's see what's wrong with it. Let's see what we can improve on it, all right? You gotta get assessed by somebody who understands the mechanics of the squat and then can break these things down and then put a plan in place to help you move in the right direction. If you're doing a lot of these classes online that include some of these short range of motion squats, it kind of bugs me when you see this, right? Maybe you're getting a little bit of a burn there, but it's just, to me, can be causing more issues down the line than it is solving. So let's get to the bottom of it. I know everyone wants to get in shape, especially coming out of lockdown now. Summer's coming up out here in the northern hemisphere, at least. If you're watching this in the southern hemisphere, I'm sure you're having a good time for the winter. So anyway, questions about the squat, check out Squat University. See if you can do the 10-minute, just hang out at the bottom here, all right? Don't jump into it if you haven't been at the bottom of a squat in a while. Pay attention to where you have pain, okay? If you have some pinching going on, those are things we can pay attention to, discuss with a healthcare practitioner, and see if we can improve. There's definitely ways we can get you better. Get 1% better every day, that's my saying. I hope this video helped, and we'll talk to you soon. Hello from my friends at Renew.